Welcome everyone to Train Tuesday. I am your host Jim Wiggins. So glad to have you on board. And not sure what happened to the intro there, but we are here live on just Christmas Eve day, I guess is what it's called. I want to thank you for joining us. If you're catching us live on the live stream, thank you. We'll do some shout outs here in a second. And if you are catching us on the recording on our YouTube channel, I appreciate that too. Please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video like this drops to our feed. And do comment. We like the interaction. So go ahead and comment, and I will try to answer as many of those as possible. Let's see who is joining us here tonight. I see Ronald is here, and Train Jack, BN Green 1970, John, Ronald, Jason, Jonathan, and Anthony, as well as Michael, just to name a few. So thank you for joining me live tonight. Really appreciate it. We're going to be talking about some new FMC boxcars, and I do mean new. These are new tooling, and really looking forward to showing those to you. They are available at Athearn dealers right now, and if you pre-order them, you may already have them on your layout, like I do. But if not, there are still a few of these available. So if you didn't pre-order, you can probably nab one of these before or after Christmas, depending on when you're watching this episode. So with that, let's do one more round of shout outs. Thank you, Thomas, for joining us. Kyle, Union Pacific 8518 Productions. Let's see what else we've got. DG Model Works is in the house. And Thomas Shannon. Charles Woods, Sean Thomas said he finally made it. I know he sent some videos to me earlier of his office, and I haven't had a chance to look at those yet. It's been crazy here at work as well as at home, and I'm sure it's possibly crazy for you as well because it is the busiest time of year. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with another Train Tuesday. We're going to be talking FMC today. So let's go ahead and talk about these freight cars. Now, we announced these back in January of 2024, which is great that they got here in the time they did. Now, remember, we've been working with our factories to try to push production along. We're starting to make some headway. We're not there yet, of course, but we're trying real hard to get these moved in. And these actually are a little, by like a week or two, less than a year in delivery if we announced them last January of 2024. A little bit longer than that, because technically in another week or so, it's going to be January of 2026. I don't know where the time goes. It just goes by quickly. So a little bit about these boxcars. Back in the mid-1970s, the incentive per diem boxcar boom was just beginning. These new brightly painted boxcars seemed to appear overnight. Many were lettered for various short lines. And FMC, which stood for Food Machinery Corporation, was a significant builder of many of these cars. Now, these 50-foot outside post non-terminating end boxcars became the foundation for new per diem cars built in the 1970s. The FMC 50-foot cars also varied in door configurations in which to better serve their customers. Now, the FMC 5077 that you see listed there is an all new model. It's all new tooling. And basically what happened was we were updating the tooling on the 5347s, and we went ahead and started basically making a new version, the 5077. So we've got 3 different boxcars that we're going to talk about in the new tooling. If you have questions, do me a favor, wait for those questions for after the presentation, because I cannot see the comments when I'm in presentation mode like you see now. So if you got some questions, feel free to ask those after, and I'll answer them the best of my ability. So let's go ahead and show these wonderful boxcars. Now, if you're an HO scale modeler and you're modeling anywhere between the 1970s to roughly present day, there's probably going to be a boxcar or 2 that you're going to want to add to your roster. Now, the first one that we've got here is a mouthful. Camino, Placerville, and Lake Tahoe. This is a 1977 era car. It's the new FMC 5077. Now, the CPLT, it was once owned by the Michigan, California Lumber Company. In 1986, the Southern Pacific abandoned the Placerville branch, eliminating CPLT's access to the National Rail Network. Scrapping of the CPLT commenced on September 3rd, 1986. So roughly, if you're modeling 1977 to 1986, you can add these cars as is to your roster. And the cool thing again is, since it was per diem and these were short lines, they could be seen anywhere from New England to the Southeast to California and beyond. They were all over the place. So if you're modeling an HO and you're modeling between these years, you're going to want to pick up at least one of these. Now, we're offering these in 3 different road numbers: 7703, 7706, of course, which is seen right there on your screen, as well as 7728. Now, that is a 1977 version. I've got something a little bit more modern now, another 5077, and this is Texas, Oklahoma, and Eastern. This is a 2004 era car. In fact, I'm going to have it on the layout here tonight. It's perfect for my layout because it fits within the layout's era. Now, this Texas, Oklahoma, and Eastern, kind of a cool thing. The reporting marks are definitely easy to remember because their reporting marks is TOE or tow. It's a Class 3 short line. It's owned by Patriot Rail out of Jacksonville, Florida, and they only have 39.3 miles of track in southeastern Oklahoma. But again, you get to see these all over. I plan on adding a few of these to my layout. We're offering 3 different road numbers for the Texas, Oklahoma, and Eastern: 2654, 2682, the one that you see on your screen right now, and 2684. Now, going back to the late 1970s is a colorful car that a lot of people really, really like these. We've done these in other box cars. This is the first time we've done them with the 5077, at least with the new tooling. And this is the Union Railroad of Oregon. Now, the Union Railroad of Oregon was just one of the many short lines that took advantage of the per diem boxcar program that came about in the late 1970s. Now, the railroad contracted for 50 of these cars back in 1979, which is ideally where our car is here. You can see that the era for this is 1979. The cars were originally painted as seen here, with a distinctive logo applied to each car. Now, by 1986, these FMC boxcars found their way back to their leaser, who then transferred these cars to Burlington Northern. So if you're a Burlington Northern modeler of the 1980s, you can definitely justify adding these to your roster. In fact, you can probably even get a little, dip into the modeler world and do some masking, do some new reporting marks. But that's where they ended up, and by 1986. So again, if you're modeling it as is seen, you're looking at 1979 to 1986. After 86, you can take some modeler's license, or if you've got some really good images with aftermarket decals, you can definitely represent that car. We're doing 3 road numbers with this one as well. It's 1501, 1503, which is seen on your screen, and 1504. Now let's go back to a modern car, and let's go to the last 5077 that we've got in the mix. Now remember, we had the Union Railroad of Oregon. Well, this is no longer the Union Railroad of Oregon. It's the Lamoille Valley. Pretty interesting car. This is a 1993 era car, and this is part of the Prime for Grime. Now, the nice thing about the Prime for Grime cars or locomotives that we're now offering is they are dead flat. There is no gloss to them whatsoever. In the past, we would offer Prime for Grime, and the colors may be muted to look like, simulate weathering. However, they still kind of had a gloss appearance to them. Well, that's no longer the case. They actually are dead flat. They look really great. I don't have this one on the layout tonight, but I do have 2 other examples that I can show you. We're just offering this one, and again, Prime for Grime, because our researchers found this car. And yes, Lamoille Valley, I know by 1993, yeah, still around, but seems kind of odd. I have to apologize because the studio tonight has been overrun with ladybugs. We've got a spurt of warm weather here, so They are driving me crazy in the studio. Up next is Galveston Wharves. That is a mouthful in itself. A bright orange car. This is a 1977 era car. It's a FMC 5347. Now, there's quite a bit of history behind this car, and it's kind of cool. The Galveston Railroad is a Class 3 terminal switching railroad headquartered in, you guessed it, Galveston, Texas. It primarily serves the transportation of cargo to and from the port of Galveston. And on May 26, 2005, Genesee and Wyoming announced that it had agreed to purchase the railroad operations of Railroad Management Corporation, or RMC, not to be confused with Railroad Model Craftsman, the parent company of Galveston Railroad. Now, the G&W paid $243 million in cash and assumed $1.7 million in company debt in order to gain control of 14 in total short line railroads from RMC across the southeast United States. And that was back on June 1st, 2005. So, pretty cool car. 1979 to at least the early to mid 2000s, this car would look like this. Depending on your era, it would probably look a little bit worse for wear, but we're going to be offering it in 3 different road numbers: 1144, 1179, which is pictured on your screen, and 1200. And then last but not least, these are the last of the factory fresh, is the East St. Louis Junction. This is an FMC 5347. Era is 1979. These were certainly seen throughout the 1980s and maybe even into the 1990s. 3 different road numbers are included in this run, including 7704, 7716, which is pictured here, and 7744. Now, just when you thought Lamoille Valley was done, we've got more. Remember the Eureka Western? Well, this one ended up as Lamoille Valley as it appeared in 2002. Heavily weathered, it's been patched. And what's really cool, if you take a look carefully just under the Eureka Western, you see that black rectangle. I'm thinking that's probably where the ACI label was when this car was new. Kind of a cool detail. Again, this was based on actual photographs that our product developer found and used them extensively. And it looks absolutely great. Everything is faded. So when you purchase this box car, you can add some more weathering to your liking, or you can just simply run it as is. And then last, no, it's not Galveston Wharves anymore. It's Lamoille Valley. This is a 2010 car. This is the one that really had me questioning things because Lamoille Valley is long gone. It was a Vermont short line. And they were known for their Elko RS3s and covered bridges. But the railroad itself was gone by the late 90s, early 2000s. Well, I talked to the researcher and he assured me that they had documented photographic proof that Lamoille Valley did indeed have this car in 2010. So not sure exactly what's going on there. His research kind of dried up from there, but these did actually exist. This is actually one of the cars I've got on the layout right now, and it's been faded extensively from what it looked like originally. And of course, you've got some patching. You can see where the new reporting marks have been put on, and is just a really cool car if you're like me, modeling the somewhat modern era. So let's talk a little bit about the features of these cars. Now, again, these are Athearn cars, so they're not going to be as detailed as Genesis. However, that being said, they do pack a lot of detail punch for the dollar. These are newly tooled bodies with road-specific doors. That is something that is new. In the past, we could run these box cars and we could kind of fudge it a little bit and say, yeah, this is a certain railroad, and we'd use the wrong doors. That's not a problem anymore. Now, with the updated tooling, we can match the doors to the prototype based on what the prototype car was being used for. These also have separately applied grab irons, end ladders, and brake wheel. The other cool feature I like about these is the photo etched crossover platform. They also have full underbody brake detail and piping, 33-inch machined metal wheels with RP25 contours, and of course, you do have body-mounted McHenry scale knuckle couplers. Now, of course, you can replace those if you like. It's pretty easy to do. These are painted and based on prototype cars that our researchers have found. And the minimum radius on these is 18 inches. And when we go back to the full view, you can see behind me that they have no problem navigating the studio's 18-inch radius curve. So there you have it. These are available right now, and you can get these at your hobby dealer. If you pre-ordered them, like I said, you've probably got them on your layout already, or you're getting ready to use them for your next modular meet. So let's see what kind of questions we have out here tonight. Let's see what else we've got. Matt Fisher says we need more McLeod at Railway and Sierra Railway boxcars. Well, good thing for you is that you can always send your suggestions by email at Athearn product suggestions at athearn.com. In fact, I'll put that on. Instead of me repeating it every few minutes, I'll just put that up there right now for you to see. Let's see. What else do we have here? Harold's really liking the Galveston. Yeah, it looks good. I particularly like the Prime for Grime version. I'll show it to you here in a minute. Definitely, that is really great. We've had the Prime for Grime for a number of years. The one complaint we always got, in fact, it actually led us to having some issues, is when we would fade the colors on certain locomotives or freight cars, they still had that gloss appearance to them. So to the uninformed, they just thought we got the colors wrong. So now that they're flat and we advertise them a little bit more as Prime for Grime, you know that these are faded out, and you're definitely going to see that with a couple of the box cars on here tonight. Every week I get one of these. I get one of these comments. I wish they'd go back to the box kits. You know, first of all, as far as the prices, it's like anything, shop around. You're probably seeing the MSR prices on our links in the video description below. Well, that's MSRP. That's a manufacturer suggested retail price. That's not necessarily the price that your dealer is going to offer. The other thing too is, and I've said it till I'm, dare I say, oh, there's a bad joke here, but should I say it till I'm blue in the face? Well, yeah. The kits have really kind of gone the way of buggy whips and other things. In fact, we've recently tried to do some kits. We did a 60-foot Canadian Tire undecorated container, and that was technically a kit. And I can tell you that after a year, we still have stock of them. So the blue box kits, I'm afraid, are gone. Those aren't coming back. Excellent question. Is there any way we can see the bottom of the box cars? Yeah, let's do that now. Let's go ahead and switch cameras. I'm going to go ahead and remove the banner here. And let's switch here. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to back up and grab a couple of these cars. And while we're doing that, if you've got a question, I'll look at the comments and try to answer them accordingly. So let's see, there's no sound here because it just gets too loud in the studio, and you guys don't hear it anyways. So tonight we've got a couple of different cars here. You can see I've got both Lamoille Valley boxcars. I'm bringing in one of my older Seco boxcars. It's just coming into camera view right now. And let's see if we can snag this guy. There we go. Now we'll snag the other Lamoille Valley. All right. Make sure these are coupled here. These are brand new. I just took them out of the box. They have not run these yet. Randall, yes, we have actually, and we've actually offered some data only cars. All right. Move that guy there. Anthony wants to know, what did they ship? What did they normally use? A lot of these box cars, you'd have to look up the customers in which they served. Um, Most of these would probably be storing like corrugate, what they call corrugated, which is used in all kinds of different industries. Some of them are used for paper, big rolls of paper. Generally, a lot of the box cars like this with the big double doors were perfect for corrugated and paper, because they could actually get a forklift with the big ream, the big rolls of paper in there very easily. So most of them were paper, but that doesn't mean they were only used for that. Generally, from what I can tell, a lot of them were not used for food service or anything like that. It was mainly for dry goods. I have to excuse my finger. These are manual turnouts. And I'm going to let's put the Eureka in front of the camera. But yeah, to answer your question, Randall, and a couple other guys that have chimed in, we have offered some data only cars. They've actually done really well. So we'll be doing more of those. Don't worry. We've done some, I think it was some ore cars, some covered hoppers, and they do quite well. So here comes our Lamoille Valley, former Eureka Western. Let's get him right in front of the camera. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put him on his side so you can see, get my hand out of there, and let's see if we can zoom in on that. So again, these are Athearn. They're not going to have a ton of detail, but they have enough detail to satisfy someone. Now, I just have a small shelf layout. This is all this is. It's just a small, it's barely 9 feet long when it's stretched out. And, you know, there's enough underbody detail to satisfy me, especially with a box car. Because if you look at these FMCs, look at how low the sill is that hangs. It's not like the earlier cars, the Pullman Standards and the cars of that nature. I saw somebody in the comments, and you're absolutely right. These were used in tin service cans. I can tell you that back in the day, companies like American Can would have received rolls of steel and tin, and then they would also ship, before the truck really took over, they would also ship finished goods. I've heard stories of guys loading these back in the 60s and 70s, specifically these in the 70s, of course. But probably not quite as much into the 1980s. The truck had really taken over at that point. Any update on the GP18s New England Southern? We're hoping by the first of the year we're going to see those. I know you're going to see it here on Train Tuesday, because that is my hometown switcher. That is the switcher I used to chase when I was in high school. All right, Jake here's got all the answers. He's right. Paper, lumber. I mean, there's so many different things that could be used. What I would recommend is take a look at your industry list on your layout, and then compare it to the cars that served your type of industry. What I normally do is I have two layouts. I've got an N-scale layout that's 1970s New England, which is Boston and Maine. And I've found pictures of actual box cars that were spotting the industries that I've replicated. And the same thing with HO. You can do the same thing. So that's something that you can think about. But yeah, these box cars were used for pretty much everything. The only thing I can't see that they were used for was any type of food service. All right, I'm going to zoom out of here. You see the printing on these too is amazing. I mean, the decaling, I couldn't have done the decaling that nice back in the day. Let's see what other questions we have. Again, I see some guys asking, hopefully you'll do this or hopefully you do that. Don't forget, you can email us. Doesn't mean we're going to do it. It's not a guarantee. It's a product suggestion email, but let's see what else we've got. Terry wants to know, I think he's talking about the CA11, the all caboose. I think CA11. I don't have any updates on the CA11. The SD70 Aces, we've gotten some updates going on with those, so I don't have an ETA on you. Let's see. Any updates on the CNW GP7s? Yeah, same as the New England Southern GP18s. Those are going to be going about the same time as the 18, so probably the 1st of January or so. Let's see what else we've got. More questions tonight. We got about 132 online right now, so thank you for that. We appreciate that. We are always planning on doing fruit grower reefers. I don't know if we've got any set up for 2026 or not, but we usually do a run every year or so. Yes, Bradford, the Rock Island Jeep 7s are the same. Those are going to be here beginning of the year. All right, let's go ahead and answer some questions. I'm going to put this guy down. And meanwhile, I'm going to rearrange some things off camera because I do want to get some good shots of a couple of the box cars before we leave tonight. Trainman0121, announcements still Friday? Yes. So if you haven't heard, we are doing new announcements. Now we're starting 2026 fresh. 2025, I'm not going to lie to you, was a bumpy year with everything that was going on, and it really caused some chaos. But I think we're going to be back on a regular rhythm. Now, keep in mind, in 2026, we're going to be going forward doing bi-monthly announcements because, again, that's going to give you more time to place your pre-orders with your dealer. Now, that being said, you've only got a few days left to do the pre-orders that we've got open now. If you haven't done so already, you might want to take a look at what we've got on our new announcements tab at Athearn.com and make sure you get those orders in, because the day after Christmas, or otherwise known as Boxing Day for me, once it comes around, by the end of the Boxing Day, Friday the 26th, all those pre-orders close and they won't come back. And keep in mind, if we don't get enough pre-orders for certain projects, we will not produce them. There's one of the things that kind of stinks about manufacturing is we have to produce enough for it to be profitable. And if we get enough pre-orders, well, that's not a problem. But if we don't, well, unfortunately, we have to cancel those. So take a look at those new announcements that are live right now. You've got till Friday the 26th. And then on Friday the 26th, you also get to see all the new stuff for the very first announcement of the year, which will be combined January, February. Let's see what else we've got here. What is the current status of the NSC 6400s, and will I see a pre-recorded video this Friday? You will see pre-recorded videos Friday. You will not see pre-recorded videos on the NSC 6400s, however. I did talk to Product Development a couple of weeks ago about those. They've got some major hurdles done with some big projects. In fact, we shared some pictures a few weeks ago of the Surfliners and California cars. So they are starting to make headway on those. Now, that doesn't mean that I've got a date for you just yet, but I think they're still going to try to get those done for 2026. Hmm. Let's see what else we've got. BN Green 1970 says, these are nice cars. They're approaching what some early Genesis cars were 20 years ago. Even Roundhouse is so much better than just ready to roll blue box. Yeah, I'm actually impressed with the Athearn line. These cars here, I've got no problem adding them to my layout. I mainly have, just as a personal point of view, I mainly have Genesis um, cars on my personal layout just because I do like that detail. The layout isn't really that tall. In fact, it's probably a lot shorter than some standard layouts. And I did that mainly because of filming reasons. And let's face it, I'm not exactly a tower of a person myself. So I appreciate that. But honestly, these Athearn cars look absolutely stunning. And I'm really happy with how they look. Let's do another a video here of the layout. Let the camera focus in on that. And again, these are just nicely done cars. The lettering is good, the painting is good, and I really do like the Prime for Grime. I think those are my favorite. Canadian Locomotive Logistics wants to know, will we see an update on your layout after the holidays? Yeah, you probably will. Gosh, I mean, I worked all summer building the actual layout that you see now. I recycled some buildings from some things over the years that I built, but those are not the buildings that we're going to use. I have in waiting for me, and I'll probably get a big jump on it after the Amherst show. I've got a couple of big buildings that I need to build. And so once January gets here, January through March is my layout time. So I'm really looking forward to that. And hopefully you'll see some changes on the layout. Let's see. Relatable says, are these ready to run? Well, that's what we used to call them. We now just call them Athearn because ready to run, ready to roll was kind of redundant. These are the Athearn line, which means it's our mid-tier. You've got Roundhouse, which is our economic version and pretty much has molded in detail. And then Genesis, which is our top tier, which is just all of the details. Athearn has a lot of the most substantial details with the exception of a cut lever and air hoses. Oh, let's see what else we've got. Sid saying, if you're going to be here in Ohio in April, Ohio Central is running excursions for the 250th birthday. Actually, I'm going to be in Columbus in May, not April. So I'll miss out on that. Any updates on the GP60 locomotives? Not at this time. I don't have any concrete news to share with you on that. Let's see. All right, let's go back to full view. There we go. We'll take a couple of more questions, and then we'll let you go. I can't believe that it's almost Christmas. Honestly, it's crazy how fast that it's coming. Let's see. Any other questions? I just saw one here. BN Green wants to know any word on the tank car release that included the NB fuel tenders. I believe the original PDF said they were due January of 26. I don't remember seeing any news on those, unfortunately. The freight cars haven't been as affected as the locomotives because there has been some updates to some of the locomotives. But originally, if we said January of 26, of course, we stopped production for a little bit this past spring. So probably, I'm just going to guess on this. I haven't talked to the factory about them. I'm going to say probably maybe summer of 26. Joey from Late Night Model Railroading wants to know, what trains are you buying yourself for Christmas, or was that the boxcars we see here? Well, a couple of the boxcars that you see here are probably going to be early Christmas presents. The biggest Christmas present is going to be New England Southern, the GP18, and that is something I never thought I would see and produced by Genesis. That is a locomotive I started rail fanning back in 1989. I think it was a while ago, and it was a locomotive that was local to me. So that's one that's probably going to be on my Christmas list, and that's probably on a few of you that was looking for something new for Christmas. Let's see what else we've got. All right, that looks like it's about it. Well, lastly, I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Like I said earlier, it is Christmas Eve, and as soon as I get done wrapping up this episode of Train Tuesday, I've got to literally go do some wrapping because Christmas is just a few days away. Christmas is a great time of year to share your hobby with those you love. So if you're having folks over for Christmas, you can definitely show them the layout. This is a great way to not only show your relatives, show the younger ones in your family the great hobby of model railroading. Who knows? You may be planting a seed and getting a new person into the hobby. Let's see what's going on here. Having a few technical difficulties here on the live feed. I wanted to show you some more video before we head out. Let's see what else we've got here. Thank you for everybody for wishing me a Merry Christmas. I am looking forward to it. I will be busy Friday though, because we've got those new announcements coming up, so that's going to be a good time. And don't forget, next year, 2026, that is going to be some neat releases because it's the 250th birthday of America, our independence. So, well, I apologize. For some reason, we've had some technical difficulties. The studio camera is not communicating with StreamYard, so we're not going to have our typical run by. So you're going to have to watch the run by behind me. And I hope everyone out there has a great Christmas, a Merry Christmas. We look forward to a great new year. There's going to be some great things planned for Athearn in 2026. I'm looking forward to it. And stay tuned this Friday. Look at our YouTube channel. We're going to start having new announcement videos drop Friday morning. And of course, look at Athearn.com. We'll have the new announcements on there as well. Until next time, everyone, I want everybody out there to be happy, be healthy, do some good modeling, share the hobby with your friends and relatives this holiday season. Merry Christmas, and above all, high greens. Take care, everyone.